I contend that was too much government. Barney Frank and his pals in Washington. Freddie and Fannie, but why investigate that? We're in a battle right now of big government versus small government, the European left or right. This end, anti-government anarchist, and they are here. This is the G20 crowd. The USSR, the National Socialist Worker Party, otherwise known as the Nazi Party, and China. It's weird. Crazy, out of control, killers, trading partner. They're all on this side. You see what we've done to communists and socialists? We've made them just trading partners. They're fine. What's the problem? Okay, sure, they only have a one-child policy. Big deal. You see how great their economy is? 1791, this is where we put the Constitution. Our founders were here, just close enough to the anti-government people. But they believed in government. So members. Lincoln pushed us about here. Teddy Roosevelt here. Woodrow Wilson. William Jefferson Clinton and George W. Bush. Our current administration has us about here. You can go back. Ronald Reagan took us back here. Calvin Coolidge took us back here. You can go back. It's never too late. You just have to decide, where are you going to be? Our founders put us here. We're here. Now, let me ask you, what's happening right now? As I showed you in the first break, the revolutionaries and the anarchists are getting together to have rallies. Why would the anarchists do that? Why would they join with total government people? Because they think they're going to win. These people know they're going to win. How do they know? How do they know? How do they know they're going to win? I'll explain next. There is a common thread with every piece of major legislation that has been passed in the last 2 years, and it's this: crisis. And George Bush, he started it. You're right, he did. By now you know Rahm Emanuel's never let a crisis go to waste sentiment. Looks like we're following it to a T. To quote the president, he didn't want to take over GM, but he had to. The auto industry was in a crisis. He didn't want to take over the banks, but he had to. The financial industry was in a crisis. It was corrupt and on the verge of trouble. I don't want global regulation, but we have to. Do you remember the pitch for TARP? The global economy would collapse if it's not passed. They're saying that now again. The stimulus, America wouldn't survive if we don't pass it. Healthcare, how many times do we hear that the healthcare system is in crisis? Cap and trade, energy crisis, environmental crisis, climate crisis. Oceans will flood if we don't act now. Each one of these crises, there's only one benefactor. One. Who is it? Big government. Mark my words. The pattern will continue. You watch the reaction from the government with this oil spill. Environmental and economic crisis. This could cost the economy $33 billion. Is this bad? It's really bad. We don't want to regulate offshore drilling or ban it, but we have to. The immigration rallies. Why do you think the radical groups and unions like La Raza, FIST, and SEIU are down in Arizona throwing bottles at the police? Because the extremes are pushing. And the government is seizing on the opportunity. You see, SEIU, all they do is create opportunity. That's it. An emergency situation. And you don't think they're going to lock things down? You take the basic necessities away from people and things get out of control like that. And if you don't think so, how long did it take before Katrina went crazy? We saw the confusion and chaos that authorities... It was so bad, authorities sent the FBI down and the ATF to go get the guns. This is a piece of video from the NRA. Watch this. This is an old lady in New Orleans protecting her house. People taking video. They come in and try to take her gun away. When she doesn't get it, they drop her down to the floor. Now ask yourself, this happened in America. Why haven't you seen this on TV over and over and over again? Look at Boston right now. You know, they have a water main break. People are in the aisles of BJ's fighting over the water, fighting over bottled water. Trouble. And when there's trouble, who wins? The government. You see, if you put enough stress fractures into a system and it starts to collapse, there's trouble. then there's shortages, then there's violence. Remember I showed you this? The Union and Revolutionary Plan? Violence. And when that happens, people cry out, "Stop this!" Oh, and there will be somebody there. They always appear, happy to make you feel safe again. It's what the liberals warned us about with George W. Bush, and now they don't seem to mind. See, Democrats and Republicans, stop. The argument is about big government versus small government, state and local versus federal and global. If it's not that, the outcome is already decided. Who wins? Who wins? These people create chaos. They march and rise. The people in the center, wherever this government is, they freak out. Somebody says, "I will stop it and I will make you safe." Warning. Wake your neighbors up. Big government versus small government. Not good government versus people who hate government. Back in a minute.
We're not trying to push financial reform because we begrudge success that's fairly earned. I mean, I do think at a certain point you've made enough money. I do think at a certain point you've made enough money. I do think at a certain point you've made enough money. I do think at a certain point you've made enough money. I do think at a certain point you've made enough money.
You know, I have to tell you, I'm so very grateful that you watch every night. I'm grateful that you know, we have the opportunity to learn together. I'm grateful that last Friday the Sam Adams special was #1 in all of cable television. I'm appreciative of that. Amazing things are happening in this country. We just announced last weekend on my radio show that the American Revival Tour, I think there's 2 last stops. We announced the second to the last. This one's going to be in Salt Lake City. Tickets are on sale now for insiders at glennbeck.com. The next week they go on sale for the general public. I hope to see you there. It's amazing, and it's all going to culminate on the Mall at the Lincoln Memorial August 28th. But in the meantime, we have a couple of things happening here. This Thursday, we have a full hour with legal immigrants, people that came to this country through the front door. They're incredible stories. Also, on Friday, George Washington. It is our Founders Fridays. This is my favorite founder. Make sure you join me on Friday. Gandhi said, "Let truth be your anvil, and hammer it with non-violence. Anything that doesn't stand the test when brought to the anvil, dismiss."